Hey everybody, welcome to another episode from HolsingersFlyShop.com. I'm your host, Sean Holsinger, and I'm bringing you another stonefly pattern today. This is one that I haven't shared before. It's a pretty popular old pattern. My little twist on it, how I like to tie it. This is a bead head stone to get me a little extra weight. Traditionally, it's probably not tied with a bead, but I like to get down. And also, I'm tying it with rubber legs. So, a lot of guys will tie it different ways. This is the way I like to tie it. Rubber legs give it a lot of action. And it's just a cool looking fly. It gives you that realistic like pattern, and a little bit traditional, but with the rubber legs, will add a lot of movement to it, which helps catch fish. Steelhead season's coming. This is a great steelhead pattern. That's kind of why I threw it out here. One of my clients that I tie a lot for asked me to tie these for him, sent me a couple that how he liked them. And I like the look of them, except I like beads, so I added beads to what he gave me. But I can't wait to get these on the water and try them out. They're great looking flies, and they're proven flies. It's a great old pattern, the Kaufmann Stone. Here it is, guys. I'm going to quit talking here, get into tying it. I'm sure you're going to like it. Give it a try. Mix up the colors like always. It's a stonefly. If you turn rocks in your stream, you're going to find them in golds, browns, blacks, multiple different colors. So don't be afraid to mess around that way. And size. Tying this one big for steelhead and stuff. Go a lot smaller for stream trout in your area. So have fun. Here you're going to see it in the vise. Then the material is to tie it. Okay, here you see the rubber leg Kaufmann Stone in the vise. Very cool, very buggy looking fly. And a realistic version too. So let's get into tying it. For a hook, I am using a Daiichi 1870. This is a wet nymph hook, a big nice curve to it. The one thing I don't like about it is it's a little bit tight on the gap, but this is a size 8, so it's a larger hook. I'm going to tie this anywhere in a 14 to a 8. And I'm going to use a curved hook like this, a 1770, an 1870, or I would tie it on a Firehole 718. For lead, I'm using 20 to 30 wraps of .020 lead wire. For the bead, this bead is a tungsten nickel, black nickel, tungsten bead from Nature Spirit, and it's a 0.46 millimeter bead. Okay, for thread now, I'm starting out with 140 denier, and this is black. You can use brown, whatever color you want. And I'm going to tie a brown one, but it'll be fine using black. So we're just going to start our thread on there, wrap that lead in place, cover our lead up so it doesn't slide around. And come back here right about above the barb of the hook. You may have to, I will say you may have to crush the barb to get the bead to slide over. Next thing I'm using is some flex floss. This is brown flex floss. If I'm doing a bunch of these, which I usually am, if I'm sitting down to tie something, I tie a bunch. I'm going to take and cut these in lengths about 2.5 inches long. And just cut a whole bunch of them, however many I plan to do. For instance, it takes 4 to tie this, so I'm going to cut at least 4 of them. And then I'm going to snip it down a little bit. It was a little long to start with. We'll trim it down at the end whenever we see just how long we need it. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of thin skin. This is mottled oak natural. And I'm going to cut just a little wedge on both ends, and that is, you can see there, about 1/8 of an inch wide or so. And we're going to tie that on back here at the back of the hook. And I'm just going to wrap it right back to my tail. Okay, now the one I showed you at the beginning here, I used wire. I used actually a piece of orange wire like this, because it shows up nice. I'm going to do something a little different in this one. I'm going to use some micro stretch tubing in black, and it's just going to give me a different segmented look to it. So you can use stretch tube, you can use ultra wire, whatever you want, whatever you have. And just, you know, experiment, play around, do what you like. Okay, next thing I'm going to use is some brown stonefly nymph from SLF Whitlock Pattern Blends. And here again, change the colors, pick whatever color you like. I want some brown ones. I tied some like dirty golden stone ones. Actually, the one that I showed in the vise there at the beginning, I call it a dirty golden. It's a mixture of about 4 different colors, and I like it. But this one I'm just going to tie in brown, and we're going to make a nice even body. We're going to wrap it up about halfway. Don't make it too thick here. You're going to want the thorax a little bit bigger. Put it on there big enough. It's a size 8. You know, you have to kind of judge, and you have to put a little bit extra on there because it's a size 8. I like that. You know, that's pretty nice. I'm happy with that, and that's a good distance there. So we're going to bring our thin skin up over the back, and I'm going to tie this off. Once I get that tied off, I'm just going to cut this off. I'm not going to save the rest of that for my next one. I'm going to use turkey wings up here for the wing case, so I'm not going to come back to that. Now I'm going to take my stretch tube, and I'm just going to rib this thing with the stretch tube. I'm pulling it a little bit tight, but making nice even wraps just to make it look good. That's, you know, tie it for the tire, not so much the fish sometimes. Try to be nice and neat with everything. Create a nice clean fly, and your object is to, and there you see with that with the stretch tubing, you get a nice rib on the bottom. The object of tying is to repeat the same thing over and over. Be able to repeat the same thing over and over. Next thing I'm going to do is come in with a piece of turkey tail. And I'm just going to cut a strip of this turkey tail off. And I'm going to make it about the width of the hook gap. Okay, so that's how wide I want it to be. Then I'm going to take the end of it, not the side that I cut off the shank of the feather, but the other end, the tips of it. And I'm going to trim them down a little bit. Just a little, because I want to have a lot of this feather here to use. Now, we're going to, okay, this is the front side of the feather and then the back. I'm going to put the back side of the feather facing up. And we're just going to tie it down on top. Tie it back there to the body that I have. So now we're going to come in, we're going to put a little bit more brown, this brown stonefly, and I'm going to wrap it back up, just slightly going over that turkey feather to give me a nice transition between the thorax and the abdomen. Tighten it up just a hair. Okay, once I got that nice transition there, you see it blends really nice from the thorax into the abdomen there. Now I'm going to come in with my first set of legs, and I'm just going to hold it down on my side. I always start on my side because it's easier, which is away from the camera, and I'm just going to tie it on the side there. And once I get it tied down good, I'm going to pull the leg over to the other side and tie it down straight across on the other side. So there you see. Now I'm going to come in with a little bit more dubbing, and I'm going to push those legs back at an angle. So I'm going to hold those legs back, come back in, cover them up, and then tweak them to where I want it to be. So there you see, they point back just how I want them. Now Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my first piece of section of my wing case. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bodkin and I'm going to lay it down on that turkey feather. And I'm going to press that turkey feather down. And then I'm going to flip it over and fold it. Okay, then I can pull that out. And that gives me the first fold for the first section of my wing case. And I'm just going to tie that down there. Now I want to tweak this, make sure this stays on top. Okay, and there's my first section of my wing case. Now, to preserve that, I'm going to take some Solarez. This is thick. And we're just going to cover that wing case, that turkey, with a nice thin coat of it, but just make sure I get it all covered up so it protects it. And we're going to hit it with our UV light. Okay, so there is our back section of our wing case. Not really that hard, takes a little bit of practice, but you'll get onto it. And then we're going to fold our turkey feather back over again. Okay, one thing I did forget to do was leave a little room for my antennas at the front. But we'll come back to that. Okay, so we're going to fold our turkey back. We're going to come back in with some more dubbing. Again, we're going to put this dubbing on and we're just going to cover up that wing case material a little bit to make a nice transition there. Then I'm going to take my next set of legs, hold it on my side again, tweak it to where I want it, and then pull it over the other side. Okay, now, like I said, I forgot to put my antenna on first before I got up to that section and leave enough room here. So I was able to push this bead back a little bit, and I'm going to put my antennas on the front here now. So I'm just going to tie that down. Oops, I'm going to miss it a couple times here. I just hop my thread out over the front bead there. So once I get it tied in place, I'm just going to tie one down and flip it over the other side and wrap it forward. So I get them pointing outwards. Okay, you see how I just got those to point outwards? That's fine. Now I can pull my bead back up over and get back behind that bead with my thread and finish this fly off. Okay, gonna put a little bit more dubbing. You can see how I got this little gap here, so I need to fill in that with dubbing. And I kind of, not heavy, but I'm going to go in between here. I'm going to put a little bit of dubbing. I want to make sure my thorax is bigger than my abdomen. And I want a nice smooth transition. I don't want a gap in here behind my bead and stuff. So I want to make sure I get everything nice and neat, looking good. And I'm happy with that right now. So next thing we're going to do is finish this front wing case. Again, I'm going to take my bodkin. I'm going to set it down in front of, okay, I'm going to make it a double wing case there. So I want to be able to leave room for that back one to show through. So we're going to fold that over again. Put my finger on it there to hold it in place. And then I'm just going to come in and tie this off right behind that bead. And that's going to make my front wing case. Now this takes practice. I did this pretty slick looking, but I'm telling you, I've done a few of these here now, so don't get discouraged with your first ones. It's going to take a little bit of practice, but you can make a nice looking fly. Okay, and now I got to come back and I have to hit flex floss on this front wing case. So you can see it here, it's laying on the top, so we're just going to cover it up. And I'm going to hit around the bead too. I'm going to go from the bead onto the wing case. It just helps seal in my threads and stuff and make it a little bit more secure. So there we go. You see I got it on there. We'll hit it with the light. Harden it up. Now what you can also do is sometimes I'll take some bone dry and it just strengthens it up a little bit. I'll show you what I do. I take some bone dry and I'll go in underneath here. And this just makes it a little bit stronger. No, probably not necessary, but it's just an added sense of security for me. So there you go. Now you see I have all these legs too long and these front antennas are a little bit too long for me. So I'm just going to come back in, trim them all to a length I like. I want them long enough that they're buggy and they're going to create a lot of movement in the water, but I don't want them so long that they're unnatural. So there you see, I got them all trimmed to length and I really like that. That's a nice, it's a very nice brown stonefly. So I hope you enjoy that, and I know it's going to fish for you. Alright guys, hope you like that pattern. Little bit of practice on this wing case, you'll get it down. You know, do a couple dozen of them like I do and you get them down. You can do it pretty quickly and easily like I did in the video here. You know, you're gonna have a little bit of struggle, but don't forget, take that bodkin, fold it over, and it'll fold right over and stay in place. And push them together a little bit if you have to. When you put your glue in there, sometimes they'll separate. And also when you're picking a turkey tail, I like to use this side of the turkey tail, the longer side, with more of the mottled line side, and try to find one that's pretty soft. If you find one that's kind of hard, you'll have a hard time, you know, when you put that bodkin in there and folding it over, it won't fold over as nice. So I like to try to pick a nice soft turkey tail. You know, I got my buddies every year in the spring saving me their turkey tails because I tie so many, like Kaufmann Stones and Scott's Big Nymphs and things, that I go through a lot of turkeys. So I can kind of pick and choose which one I like, you know, if you're not buying them from a store. So anyways guys, I'm glad you liked this video. If you did, please give me the thumbs up. It helps boost me up in the ratings there. And please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and take the time to like it, subscribe, and any of the materials you need, you can find at our website at holsingersflyshop.com. Till next week when I bring you another video, I'm Sean Holsinger.